up, creeps? Welcome to a special Epic Film Guys bonus review episode. I'm Justin.
And I'm Loisauce.
It's been exactly 3 years since we dived into the world of Pandora from James Cameron and his Avatar franchise, and since we are almost there again with Christmas and the release of Fire and Ash, we figured we would come and drop our review of the movie. We had a chance to see it a little bit early, a couple days early, I think, just a couple days.
Yeah.
And because we did the other ones, I'm like, well, we might as well do this one. It is James Cameron. He's one of the most iconic, prolific movie directors of all time. Wouldn't you agree, Loisauce?
I mean, sure. I mean, there's no, say what you want about Cameron, because people have opinions, and I can't even say that they're wrong. But what Cameron is really great at is delivering spectacle, and he just has a way of having the audience eating out of the palm of his hand, making the audience feel every emotion that he wants them to feel. So sure, I mean, sometimes his scripts can be pretty simplistic, but you always feel the intent with his films, and they always deliver awe-inspiring visuals at the very least. And with these Avatar movies, they pretty much push the boundaries of what's possible with modern technology in movies. And that was what was so exciting about Avatar in 2009. There was like an almost 15-year gap between Avatar and The Way of Water, and seeing how technology has progressed in that gap was pretty overwhelming, pretty amazing. And now 3 years after the previous film, The Way of Water, we have this one. So I was interested to see where the story would develop, because I knew the technology probably has not advanced that much.
No, absolutely
especially
not.
Since they shot them back to back, this one and The Way of Water and Fire and Ash. So the technology would not dazzle me in the same way. And I knew that going in, but I was curious to see where it would go.
And thankful to Disney, by the way, for the invitation to see it in Dolby Vision and Dolby Cinema 3D, which our longtime listeners know that I am not a 3D guy, unless it's like gimmicky old slashers on 35 millimeter, or something along those lines. 3D is not really my bag, but when it comes to Avatar, that's going to be the best possible 3D known to man. And to your point, I was saying this to someone earlier, and this is not me, poking at the Marvel movies or anything, but over the years, people have talked more and more about how CGI has gotten weaker in some films, and they rush the artists to render these films so quickly to get them out for release date. And Cameron is not that director. He's not that guy. He makes them take their time so that it is absolutely perfect. And I'll say this before we get to initial thoughts, much like the last two Avatar movies, visually, in terms of that element of the film, this was flawless. I mean, there's not a bad shot in it. There's not a single moment where I was like, this is rough looking. Like, everything is just done perfectly for what he's trying to convey on screen. It is interesting, that conversation, we probably even had it 3 years ago, where the general public likes to claim that the Avatar movies are not culturally relevant. And that is a conversation to be had. They're culturally relevant in the sense that, when they are released around Christmas time, everyone and their fucking grandmother goes to see them. I mean, that's been shown in the last two. When The Way of Water came out, people thought, oh, there's such a large gap. No one's going to want to see an Avatar movie. No one's talking about it. And look how much money that one made. It was astronomical. I don't know if this one's going to do quite as well, but
I would be very curious to see.
I'm very curious to see. It'll
definitely dominate the foreign markets for sure, and it will do well. Like, it's tracking very well. It's the holiday season. People need an escape from the world in which they live in. I mean, I remember reading reports of people going to see Avatar, the original, and like feeling like post Avatar depression, and that's what led to like repeat business, because people just couldn't get enough of how immersive the world was.
I mean, dude, I went to see the first movie twice. And there's a reason for that. It wasn't necessarily what you're referring to, but it was because it was so huge at the time that I couldn't see it in 3D on my first screening. 3D was sold out everywhere. So I said, okay, I have to see this in 3D because I've seen it once. I went back the second day, the day right after, and saw it a second time. That's how culturally relevant it was at that time. Now, I think it's not culturally relevant in the same way as, say, the comic book movies video game movies or anything like that, where you see people showing up dressed up as the characters or wearing t-shirts. I mean, there is merchandise for these movies, but I don't see anyone sporting them. I don't see anyone posting about them. I didn't see people dressed up as Na'vi at the screening last night. If there are those fans, they're, few and far between that are that hardcore about these movies. But what I have to admire about Cameron is that he really, he's spent decades creating this world. And you're going to say it in the review. We've talked about it in the past about the other movies. The story's been told before. This is nothing new. We know what these movies are about, and I'm sure we'll go into that further in the actual dissection of this movie. But from point A to point B, Cameron knows what he's doing, and he's going to deliver you with an awe-inspiring adventure. And
yeah, every time he's talked about Avatar, like you said, he's been developing these movies for a very long time. And every time you hear him talk about it in interviews and documentaries and stuff like that, he's done so with this kind of admirably nerdy kind of affection and enthusiasm for what he's created. You don't devote decades of your life to a project you don't fully believe in. So, I was kind of quick to rush to the defense of the first two movies, even though both of them are flawed. That this is Cameron kind of reveling in, this kind of like almost like Tolkien-esque. And I'm not comparing the quality necessarily, but this kind of Tolkien-esque of like building a world and thinking about like the ecology of the world and the biology of the creatures and developing your own language. And I thought that was like I said, very admirably nerdy kind of approach. So I was pretty shocked then to come away from the third installment feeling that he kind of seems done with Pandora, or at the very least, like his well of ideas has run dry. I don't feel that same enthusiasm I did not feel that same enthusiasm watching Fire and Ash.
No, I can agree with you there. And that's something that I wanted to bring up real quick, though, because he had originally mentioned there was going to be a fourth and fifth movie. Now, I was under the impression that the third and fourth and fifth were being shot back to back, but you just corrected me. I hadn't looked into it in years. I just remember what he said like 10 years ago, that he was going to shoot all of them back to back, and that's clearly not what happened. I don't think he's going to do 4 and 5. He did a lot of interviews recently, and in the press, I don't remember the reporter's name or what outlet it was. They said, what are you thinking about 4 and 5? And he said, talk to me in a year. And he said it like almost like a little aggravated about the question. And also in the press, as of today, he's talking a hell of a lot about Terminator, and he owns Terminator again. And my feeling on the subject is he's done with these. He's going to do Terminator next. He even said like any one of these movies could have been the end of this series. Like any one of them could have ended and it could have been the finish to them. Even though
I don't know about that after this movie.
Well, but it ends with a whimper. Absolutely. But I get his point of view. This movie, and I'll mention because BluBrry's not on this one, but I'll mention the premise real quick if those are uninitiated that want to know what this one is. Shortly after settling into the Metkayana clan, Jake and Neytiri's family grapples with the grief of losing their son. They encounter a new aggressive Na'vi tribe, the Mangquan clan, also called the Ash People, led by the Fury leader Varang. The Mangquans have allied with Jake's enemy, Quaritch, as the conflict on Pandora escalates to devastating consequences. So what does that sound like to you?
Consequences being our time and money.
It sounds like to me more of the same. And I'm not shitting on the movie for that reason. Why do we go to action adventure movies 9 times out of 10?
Yeah, and the Avatar movies, we overheard people talking after the film saying like, who cares about the plot when the action and the revisiting of the planet of Pandora is so exciting. And people often compare the Avatar films to theme park rides, and I think that's a totally apt comparison.
Perfectly.
But watching Fire and Ash is like, to me, it felt like going on a theme park ride that you loved as a kid. It exhilarated you. You have fond memories of it. And like, as you're on it, you notice that the track is more rickety than you remember. The wheels are squeakier. The animatronics are jankier. You start to see the facade that like once dazzled and immersed you in another world. You start to see the cracks start to show. And I'm kind of amazed at how little happens in this 3 hour and 17-minute film, the longest in the trilogy to date. And I'm just not convinced that that runtime is justified with this story. Characters fade in and out of the narrative, like vital information is left unconveyed. And the moments that should be like satisfying, crowd pleasing, emotional beats are just kind of oddly muted, and they don't land like I feel like they should. And this is coming from someone who, I myself like audibly whooped in the theater watching The Way of Water. I mean, I remember how triumphant the Na'vi rebellion against the RDA was in the original film. So coming into this one, I was ready to feel that again because I depended on Cameron. I mean, again, he's a very dependable director to deliver those moments where you pump your fist or, whatever. And I just didn't feel that this time around.
I can say I don't disagree with you in terms of character and story. And I can't say that I fully disagree with those that were mentioning that you go to these movies to take a plunge into Pandora and experience the visuals and the action. Because I myself last night, I fist bumped a few times. Like I was on the verge of cheering a few times because the action is so well focused and dynamic and interesting to watch. And no one else does it like Cameron. Let's be extremely clear about that. Like nobody. You can name Christopher Nolan, Steven Spielberg, all the greats, anyone. No one does large action set pieces like James Cameron, and he nails that shit out of the park every fucking time. But when it comes down to it, is the weak story underlining this movie enough to really hold up all that action? Is it enough of an excuse to tell a third story or a third part in a trilogy? That's why I think, like you said, the rails are getting rusty here. I don't think this roller coaster is going to keep operating for at all after this. I think it's going to be closed down. Its legacy will remain as it is. An Avatar trilogy box set will come out, and all the cinephiles that liked it or like them technically or like to watch them will buy it, and that'll be the end of Avatar. There's not. I think
it's in Disney's interest to keep the franchise going somehow. They have a whole theme park dedicated to it, a literal theme park world. Like, I mean, if they let Avatar, if Avatar stops becoming,
well, who do you think he would even allow to grapple onto this thing? Do you think he'd be? I mean, he has been cool with other people taking on the Terminator franchise in the past, even though it wasn't necessarily his choice because he didn't have the rights to say one way or the other. But I mean, is it possible? He's now a billionaire officially as of this recording. He's been confirmed a billionaire, so he doesn't really need to do anything if he doesn't want to. He can just pick any director and have them direct it. But
before maybe I would have said yes, because I'm like, oh, this series is his baby. Like he is the shepherd, of this franchise, and so I don't think he would want to give it up. But again, I've been reading interviews with him. He says, I want to tell other stories not set in the Avatar, like that have nothing to do with Avatar. So the fact that he's saying that is surprising. And I was equally surprised again watching the film and being like, his heart's not in it.
Well, wouldn't you be sick of it?
I would feel it.
Wouldn't you be sick of it if you had to look at fucking blue cat people for almost 20 years?
I'm sick of it, and I've just watched the 3 films.
And it's been 3 years since the last. I can't say I was sick of it. I mean, the thing about me with these movies is I'm mildly excited for them because I know what I'm going to get.
Sure.
And to your point about them not bringing anything new to the story, I honestly didn't expect them to. I was hoping that it would have some kind of emotional trench that I could dig myself into like the last movie, which I definitely felt a connection to with the toucans, the animals that absolutely mirror like whales in our own oceans and the sea life and stuff like that. And our connection with the animals. I love all that stuff. I love the creatures in this world. I'm absolutely like in awe of them every time we get to see them. But it's more of the same here. There's not really anything that they push forward any harder than we saw in the last one. And to be honest, go ahead. I was just going to say, most of the really impressive action set pieces from the last movie, we kind of see regurgitated here in some way, shape, or form, like either combined into a new one that's kind of the same thing we saw in the last one, or pretty much like the same thing altogether.
I mean, virtually indistinguishable in some cases. I mean, there's the shots where, the Na'vi are flying by on their banshees and they take their spear and they throw it into the blades of the helicopter ships and they explode. Like, how many times have we seen that? We've seen that in both of the previous movies. They have the whales jumping out of the water and crashing onto the big battleships and capsizing them. We've seen that in the last movie. I mean, even just like the narrative beats, there's like a montage of Jake Sully rallying the different tribes with a big speech. And it's really funny because the film has occasional voiceover narration by Jake's son saying, and and my father rallied the tribes with his amazing speech. And we don't even get to hear it at this point because they're just going through the motions.
Yeah, well,
I was just like,
why? At first I was asking myself in the theater, why the hell are they doing that? Why wouldn't we get the speech? I mean, think about Braveheart, man. Like, we want to see this speech. It's important to the story and these characters and what this thing's all about. And I think it would have
drawn too much attention to the fact that they've done a big, epic rallying speech in the last two movies. Yeah. So it's just, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of startling how Cameron plagiarizes himself here. It feels like a belated legacy sequel, where again, with The Way of Water, the plot elements that appeared similar to the original film, I thought were because it had been so long between the first film, almost 15 years, that they were reintroducing us to the world, getting us reacquainted with the characters. And okay, now that that's out of the way, we can explore different themes and different settings and scenarios. But I mean, again, I'm just really surprised. I mean, there's a scene in which like Colonel Quaritch kidnaps Spider, who's the human character who has kind of been an outcast, but kind of integrated into the Na'vi.
It's their adopted son, basically.
Yeah. So Quaritch keeps him captive in a glass holding cell, and then he comes in and tries to connect with him as a father. Like, you're a fighter, just like your old man. That is wholesale lifted from the last movie. There's a scene in which Keaty, the teenage Sigourney Weaver, she nearly drowns, and you think like, oh no, she's done for. But then this jellyfish creature comes and saves her, and the jellyfish creature glows, and it looks like almost like angel wings. That happened in the last movie. The third act takes place upon a floating military base where the characters are sneaking around with their guns. And I'm like, I'm having deja vu. Yep. Did they really think that audiences wouldn't notice that these are carbon copy scenes from just the last movie 3 years ago? I mean, I know that they shot both films back to back or simultaneously. Did they make huge mistakes and just leave scenes from The Way of Water?
Some of the stuff from the other one in and think no one was going to notice, or
it's really amazing.
Maybe they just went and they shot like, we're going to shoot everything for these two battle sequences at the same time. And it just got too confusing. I mean, because I got myself confused as well, because it reminded me I was like, man, didn't I just watch this like 3 years ago?
We did. We all did.
I mean, especially the end climax, which we don't have to get there yet, but the one thing I do want to bring up that I really enjoyed, that was something a little fresh, is our new villain, Varang, played by Una Chaplin, which is amazingly the granddaughter of legendary Charlie Chaplin. She was fucking awesome, dude. She was like a goth muscle mommy baddie. I mean, she was just so cool in this movie. She was slinky and sensual and vicious and absolutely like hell-bent on violence and destruction. And I loved everything about that. Yes, it's, quintessential classic villain stuff. I want to watch the world burn because of what this thing happened to me when I was younger. We've seen the Na'vi battle each other here and there, but not to this extent, where these guys are like fucking pirates, basically. Like, they're just hell-bent on destroying and doing whatever they can to loot and pillage. And we see them in the what I think is the best action sequence of the movie, or maybe the second best. The whole scene doesn't seem to make sense, though, because Jake's like, well, Spider being here is causing problems. He's not going to last long because he has to have this air ventilator thing, which it's going to run out soon. So he makes
a problem in the last film.
I don't remember.
His air ventilator kept running out. I don't. he kept needing to switch masks because they were running out of oxygen or whatever. That wasn't ever a problem in the last film that I remember.
I mean, it's been so long since I've seen it. Perfectly honest here, I have not rewatched that one since I saw it a second time. I did see it twice in theaters, but that was 3 years ago, and I've seen like a million movies since then. If it was an issue or something that they were doing in that one, I don't recall, but they make it a serious issue in this one, where it's a plot point where some traders come to where they're staying at the time, and they're like, okay, like he needs to go, like he can't be here anymore. He needs to go somewhere safer where he could breathe the air.
Well, at first, Neytiri throws out the idea of murdering him.
Well, dude, Saldana described her character in this one as having become a full-blown racist. I mean, she really is against Spider because of him being a physical reminder of how humans were the ones who killed her biological son, to the point where she's basically abandoning her faith and almost her husband in their relationship. There is some dynamic stuff there with her and Jake Sully, but they never give it time to breathe much. There's a couple scenes here and there where you can see they're kind of disconnected after the death of their son. But dude, she's like literally like, fucking kill him. I hate the white man. And it's like, well, you kind of married one, you had sex with one, and you made all these mixed kids.
Jake is quick to remind her, like, well, do you hate me? Because I'm a human inside.
But then he apologized immediately. What a bitch. Can I just mention this? This needs to be mentioned. We might have mentioned this in the last review for the last movie, but Jake Sully, he's not a nice character. He's not a good guy. He kind of sucks.
And I don't really understand Neytiri's devotion to Jake. I mean, they don't seem like a particularly loving couple. Neytiri herself is never really allowed to be a full-fledged character. I mean, I'm glad in this movie that they didn't kill another one of her children. Because I just remember,
poor girl,
I just feel so bad for her because she does nothing but suffer, nothing but cry. She gets a couple badass moments in this that are satisfying, but like, is she like the longest suffering character in action movie history? I just feel so bad for her. And like, I just don't know why, like, she clashes with Jake so often about his very identity, but then she never, she's always just like slavishly devoted to him. And I'm like, why? I don't know. It doesn't
also
really...
because he's not particularly nice to the children. He's not particularly warm to any of his sons. And now he's blaming his other son for the death of his other son that it happened in the last movie. And
which
he's just, I don't see much love from him. In the opening of the last movie, where they found them at that beginning, they were like a family unit. You could tell they cared about each other. And I think they just lost that along the way, where I'm like, yeah, I get it. Sully's a former, military
man,
but like, come on, man. Like he's telling Quaritch in this movie, see the world, connect with the world, and I'm like, bro, you fucking take your own advice. You're sitting there screaming at your kids, and I get it. It's almost like the weight of the world is on his shoulders. So there's got to be some element there, and
it's about the cost of war and the grief and the loss.
He could be a little nicer to his kids, man. He's just constantly a fucking dick to everybody.
Yeah, he never. I mean, again, I guess there's not much to like smile about, but like he's just a wet blanket of a main character, and I didn't always feel that way. I did with this movie. No.
And I don't really care for Sam Worthington that much as an actor. I don't know if he's even doing anything else in terms of acting anymore other than these movies. I haven't seen him in anything. If he is, maybe indie stuff that I haven't paid attention to, but I mean,
the thing is, I don't think this film is even structured properly, because Jake Sully is not the main character.
Who is the main character? Can you tell me?
I can't, because the film begins with Jake and Neytiri's son, Loak, and he, like I said, he provides like a very occasional voiceover narration. But the way so it begins with him, and you're like, okay, maybe we're going to start looking through the eyes of the next generation of Sully children. But the way the movie ends, you'd think this is Spider's story, because he becomes more of the focus, and the film ends with him being welcomed into the spirit realm as part of the tribe. So the two ends of the film don't really line up with one another. And there's a whole thing with like Loak blaming himself for the death of his brother in the previous entry. And at one point he considers blowing his brains out.
That was a really hard scene to watch. And I don't really think that was necessary. I think that was a really bad choice to show that. I mean, a lot of kids are going to see these movies, and I thought that was, again, the movie ends and immediately there was a suicide hotline prevention thing that came up so right on them for doing that. I just didn't see it as necessary to the character, necessary in the story, or anything like that.
It might be if it actually developed into anything, but that whole subplot of him blaming himself, that's kind of abandoned again in like favor of rehashing what came before. Oh, we have to see Spider get kidnapped again, and then we have to see him, struggle with his identity.
Can I just say this? I have to mention this. I didn't like the character of Spider in the last one, and I don't like the character of Spider in this one. And I'm not trying to hate on Jack Champion.
I think he's nice to look at.
Not with those stupid dreads. They look ridiculous. They look really dumb. I'm sorry. They look really dumb.
White people should just not have dreadlocks.
I mean,
for a multitude of reasons.
I can't disagree with you, though. I had them when I was 17, when I was in my Rage Against the Machine phase. But
while we're on the topic of cultural appropriation, so the white savior narrative has always been an uncomfortable kind of topic with these movies, because people always say it's Pocahontas, it's Dances with Wolves, and that's the reason why is because this is the story of colonialism, basically, in America.
Sure.
Again, it's always kind of waded into like the realm of like Native American mysticism and spirituality that's kind of been questionable coming from James Cameron, who's like an old white guy. But I've always been quick to defend it because the depiction of the Na'vi has always been very well intentioned.
I agree.
I mean, obviously the Na'vi, like, they're meant to be indigenous people. It's literally in their name, Native, Na'vi, like, so it feels weird in this movie to introduce a different tribe of Na'vi who are the bad Na'vi. They're the evil ones, and they're led by a witch. They're led by a witch doctor who does all sorts of voodoo rituals and gives the colonel hallucinogenic herbs, and on multiple occasions threatens to straight up scalp people. Like, there's a lot of dialogue about scalping in particular, and I'm like, are we really resorting to the most basic and most harmful of Native American stereotypes?
Sure,
I mean,
I guess.
Like, the thing is, I understand that they want to make the point that like there are good and bad humans. There are good and bad Na'vi.
Well, there were good and bad. I mean, I wouldn't say bad Native American tribes, but there were more vicious and violent and hateful tribes than than others. If you look in the history of Native American culture, I myself, which I'm allowed to say this because I am partly Native American, motherfucker. Okay, let's say it. Part Cherokee over here. Again, I'm not well versed in all of that stuff, good enough to actually say anything with any impact. But no, just knowing from basic history and watching documentaries and reading books and what you learned in school, that there were certain tribes that were just, they did want to scalp, they did want to murder, and they were more hateful than others, and there were more peaceful ones. And so I don't mind them transferring that over, because it's clear, like you said, that that's what this is all a basis for, or basis from rather, for this story. So why not do it?
Yeah, and the movie too is all three films have been about nature versus industry. They've always been about bows and arrows versus guns, and so I understand them kind of developing that further. I did like how power hungry and how kind of seduced by the efficiency of guns that Varang is. I really liked the look of the character. I liked Chaplin's performance. It's very physical. It's very I
love the headdress that she's wearing with the feathers was really cool. I like
it's very commanding. Yes. Yeah, the look of the character and her performance. Her motivation makes sense to me. I do wish there were more beyond the whole ashy, barren part of the planet. We see one scene of that.
That's one of the biggest issues I had with this movie, because it's the first time we see anything remotely different. We've seen the water society, we've seen the forest society, we've seen them in the jungle, we've seen them in the air. This is an element that I wanted to really dive into a little further, and they're there for less than 10 minutes. When Quaritch goes there to make a deal to have them team up, for him to use them as backup, apparently, because I guess they'd had to do it because he has no more men left, because they were all destroyed or killed in the end of the last movie.
I think Quaritch is taking the opportunity because, again, okay, so we need to return to a scene you were talking about earlier, because the movie starts.
A scene that I really liked.
Yes, the movie starts, and I don't know how long after the first movie this is meant to be taking place.
You mean the second movie, right?
The second movie,
Yeah.
excuse me. So the movie starts with the Fire Tribe attacking the other Na'vi, and it's like, did something happen off screen? Did Because there's never been any indication that there's even been a Fire Tribe in the other movies, let alone that the characters that we've been following know about them, have been in conflict with them. So the fact that they just like start
There's a line of
attacking them.
dialogue between Jake Sully and one of the traders when he, as in like they're trading stuff together. He makes a deal with them to take
Not traitors with a T.
Yes,
Traders.
they make a deal for them to take Spider to this different area. The whole family disagrees with it because they're saying you're just dropping off Spider. We want to go. He's like, well, why don't we make it like a vacation of sorts so we can put all of ourselves in danger?
It's an adventure for the whole family.
Well, we can get almost killed. Yeah, silly, but it gives us, like I said, my second favorite action sequence of the whole movie, and it is an aerial sequence. But I loved, the Ash people, like how vicious they were, and how, I mean, one of them actually lights himself on fucking fire and dives
like
into the top of a ship, kamikaze, like, and it was awesome. I was like, oh, this is really cool. We've never seen that done before in this world, so that was one of the elements that I really enjoyed.
I agree, because it was different.
Yes.
That whole wind trader like society,
those
that
ships
was
and
an
stuff.
interesting idea. But in the midst of that scene, Jake and Quaritch start like teaming up and start being like buddy towards each other, and
they get beat, they get dropped, and the kids the kids get lost. And
in the last movie, Quaritch says that the next time he sees Jake Sully, that he's going to murder his entire family and make Jake watch. Like I feel like the moment that either one of them lays eyes on the other, they should just start trying to murder them immediately. So it felt very weird that at several points during this movie, both Quaritch and Jake have the opportunity to just take out the other, and they don't take that opportunity at all. And are we doing spoilers? Because at the end of the
whole
movie,
thing's been spoilers, Loy Sauce.
So at the end of the movie, Jake saves Quaritch only because in doing so he would save Spider. And they're literally just sitting around looking at each other. And then Quaritch says, well, this is awkward. What happens now? Are we going to join hands and start singing? Or, are we going to start killing each other the next time we come across each other? I'm like, you should be jumping him now and trying to kill him.
They're both exhausted. You can tell they're both exhausted from this. So that's a very human element that they brought in here that anyone could relate to. And I understand that. Earlier on, though, I'm just saying, when they first meet, Sully's like, they capture him. It's Quaritch and his right-hand man. They capture him. They have him tied up. He doesn't do anything. His partner beats him up a little bit, and then he's like, all right, that's enough. Like, why didn't he just immediately shoot him in the head? All right, we're done now. The movie's over.
Makes no sense. And then ultimately at the end, and the thing that drove me crazy, throughout the movie, Jake tries to appeal to Quaritch and say you have a choice. Colonel Quaritch is dead. The human Quaritch, you are now the Na'vi, so you have the choice to join us and be part of the society and discover, your place in this world, on this planet. And so the repeated phrase of "you have a choice," I thought, well, maybe they're starting to build up kind of or set up kind of a redemption arc for Quaritch. Like maybe he decides, like, yeah, I will kind of integrate and I will start to see things from the Na'vi point of view. So I thought the repeated use of the phrase, and Jake looks at him at the end when Quaritch is like, what happens now? He says, like, you have a choice.
And there's a lot of emotion in his eyes. There's a lot of emotion in both of their eyes in that moment. So I was really like, oh man, what are we going to see here?
Instead, we see Quaritch just like say sayonara and jump off of a cliff and disappear into a void. We don't even get to see him die. Like I was wondering, did he die? We don't see any kind of like.
It was one of the most underwhelming elements of the movie. Actually, probably one of the most underwhelming moments of any of the three movies. I thought
that should have been an epic confrontation.
Well, the fight was good,
especially since it's been built up in the last two movies. Like Quaritch is a real son of a bitch. So either you make him so hated that you want to see him die in the most brutal, vicious way possible, or you remind him of his humanity, so to speak, but you have a choice. That is a powerful theme that could lead to a redemption arc. It reminded me of the Rise of Skywalker and the treatment of Kylo Ren's character. Is he a villain or isn't he? We never really know what his deal is because the script doesn't really know one way or the other. So it's like, okay, so Kylo Ren sacrifices himself to save Rey heroically, and then he just keels over and dies and falls off a cliff. It's like, okay, so what are we meant to take away from that emotionally? I don't know.
Yeah,
Really don't. And like even the environmental themes, they're like barely there in this movie. They were established in the previous films. The first one, take care of our forests. The second one, be nice and friendly to our oceans and save the whales and all that. A bit moralizing, not particularly subtle, but I always appreciated them because they were sincere. And in this one, it's just like, oh, there's a bad tribe and they're the fire tribe. It's like, okay.
Well, there's a whole element at the end where the two coons, I'm just going to call them the fucking space whales.
The whales.
It's not space, but you know what I mean? It's a different kind of a whale. They're adorable, and I love the design, and they're very smart, intelligent, and the Na'vi can actually communicate with them, and there's an ancient bond between the Na'vi and the two coons.
Sure.
We saw that in the end of the last one with the relationship with Jake's sons and the outcasted two coons, and that's continued here a little bit. They kind of go with it a little. It's a little bit of an offshoot in the story, but they find out there's this celebration, this event where the mothers and the calves come together in a huge group, basically to be shot like fish in a barrel. And obviously the humans find out about it and they're going to go kill them all. And, Jake Sully catches wind of this and they organize all of the Na'vi to come attack the ships at the same time. And they convince the Takoons to fight back, which is, again, they fought back a little bit at the end at the other one, The Way of Water, but we get to see them fight back in a pretty cool, epic way at the end of this one too. So that was cool. I mean, save the whales, man.
Yeah. But again, like it seemed perfunctory to have a scene where they have to convince the whales to be part of the fight because they were at the end
they're
of the
not
second
fighters.
movie.
They're technically, they say they're not fighters. They're
Sure.
peaceful. They're a peaceful animal.
And this film also introduces, well, I think it was actually in the last movie as well, but the kind of the predator squids that are in the film.
Those things are amazing.
They are great, and they did lead to a lot of satisfying moments at the end when the squids decide to come in and join the fight.
Thanks to Kiri, she convinces them somehow with her connection through Mother or whatever, that
Awa,
that we need your help now, and she just like magically sends all of them up, and I was like, cool, I don't care how the fuck she made this happen, I love this is so much fun, the visual element of that, and just seeing these squids like eating these dudes and destroying their ships. And it would be cool, I'm sure in Brian's mind he was like, I wish this was rated R so you could see them getting decapitated and ripped in fucking half.
I mean, sure, wouldn't that be great?
But
my issue was that it served the exact same purpose as the whales in the last film. Like, again, it was meant to be like a triumphant, like, here they come, like they're gonna take down the bad guys, and it's meant to be like the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi, like that's satisfying.
Yeah, but the Ewoks suck though.
Well, sure, but like it's meant to be this triumphant moment, and it's like, okay, so we did that with the whales in the last movie, and now we do it with the squids in this movie. It just
I get what you're saying. The movie does tread a very similar path, as I stated in my blurb that literally no one paid attention to on social media. Once again, confirming to some of the haters out there that I guess Avatar is not as culturally relevant as some would like it to be, even though everyone goes to see it, or people just don't care what I think about it. That could be true too, but I would not like to think that because of my ego and all that and stuff. Mm-hmm. But the movie does, it feels so similar to the last one. That's why I'm surprised that anyone is opinions out there that I've seen mentioning that it's so much different than the last one, or there's a lot more themes being presented here. I'm like, no, there's themes of family, of being a father. There's themes that you've already mentioned about the environment and colonialism and all of that stuff. We've already seen all of it in the other two, in particular the last one, which I thought story-wise was a little bit better than the first one. But the movie's kind of the same thing. And does that make it bad? I don't think so. But when you are dealing with James Cameron, which it's not like he wrote this thing himself, he had a writing team There was a team that wrote the story, and then he wrote the screenplay with 2 other writers, with Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver. So
it should not take 5 people to come up with this story.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's why I think you've said this in the past, and it's pretty clear to most people. Cameron is really good at bare bones story. Like, he knows how to make something get from point A to point B. Interesting characters.
Romeo and Juliet on the Titanic.
Great character work. Again, there's decent character work in this, but I think for a 3-hour and 17-minute runtime, there should have been better character work or more focus on who we supposed to be paying more attention to here. It's too all over the place. And I understand that there's a lot of characters to get their screen time, and he wants to have them each get their own rightful amount of time to be focused on or developed, but he doesn't do it.
We spent so much time with the Water Tribe in the last movie, and they're barely in this.
They're barely in it.
One of the sons of the Water Tribe in the final battle is killed.
He's killed, yeah. He's off.
There's no slow motion. There's no characters even noticing that it happened or grieving in the moment. There's no impact for the audience. There's an impact
when the mother who's pregnant, who fights through the whole battle, which was badass, voiced by Kate Winslet, Ronell or whatever. When she dies, that's a pretty emotional moment, because she literally, I never knew we were going to see this in an Avatar movie. She gives birth as she's dying.
Instantaneous birth. Like, she literally says, like, I'm not going to die until I squeeze out this baby. That's literally that's the line that she gives. And so I'm like, was she already in labor during the action?
Well, yeah,
climax?
because earlier on, Kiri said that you're having contractions before they even left for the battle. She mentioned that.
I must have missed that.
That was when you were taking a massive shit in the bathroom, when you were gone for like 5 minutes, and you came back and you stunk of poopy. So
yeah, that definitely happened. No, yeah, I definitely, so I must have missed that scene, but I was just shocked. I almost started laughing, because it was like, she literally says, like, Neytiri says, like, you're going to die. What's going to happen to the baby? And she says something to the effect of, like, I'm not dying until I squeeze this child out. Amazing.
And then Neytiri, she throws that newborn baby in like a sack on her chest, and then continues on.
It's like running around.
Then she gets abducted again, and she's taken hostage, which again happened. Like, we have characters that got taken hostage at the end of the last one on a ship. In this one, we have characters that get taken hostage on a ship.
Yeah.
And the action sequence plays out almost the fucking same. Where Jake Sully and one of his sons are on the ship, and they're trying to save their family.
Yep.
Fancy that. So whatever, you could say it's slightly different. It is slightly different, but it's the same exact idea. And some could argue, well, where else would you have them go? It's a water battle. Yeah, I know. Sure.
Do some more interesting things with the Fire Tribe. The thing about it is, like, in the last film, so much time is spent on introducing us to the Water Tribe's way of life, like how they live, like, what they're how they communicate with the wildlife. And, it was different than what we had seen in Avatar. It's similar along the same lines, but the Water Tribe decidedly lives very differently from the Forest Tribe. And so I was really hoping, I guess, for some more, like, a deeper understanding of how the Fire Tribe lives and how they operate and how they have their own place in this, in the biology of the planet and all of that. And I was excited to see how the world would open up.
I mean, even Varang with her, the way when she connects to other Na'vi, she has this like witch power, like that she puts you into a trance and takes you over. They don't really explain much about that. It's kind of just, mentioned in passing, and then she does it a few times. So I was like, that would have been cool to know more about that. They don't really do much to develop those characters. I guess they are, for all intents and purposes, just surface level villains, rightfully so. I do need to mention this before we finish up on the review. Your favorite scene, so that you can talk about something you actually liked, which is...
What scene is that?
What, do you not remember? Is there not a scene that you liked in the movie? Well, it's when Jake Sully, I mean, though this is completely improbable, and there's so many plot holes in this thing, it's wild, but Jake Sully gets captured, finally. He lets himself get taken in, because Quaritch finds out where he is, which I would have assumed by now they would have figured out where he is in general anyway, but they keep acting like they can't find him. He's been at the same fucking place the whole time. And he says, well, I need your word that you won't kill my family and these people. And Quaritch is like, sure, I just want you. They take him in, and he's in like this massive,
which is truly amazing because, again, why would you trust Colonel Quaritch with anything at this point? I was pretty amazed that Quaritch didn't immediately just start slaughtering his family and all of the Water Tribe. And
well,
again,
it is PG-13, Brian.
Well, sure, but I'm talking about character motivation.
I mean,
there's enough death in these movies.
That's true.
That's true. Anyway, so he lets himself, he turns himself in basically, and is set to be killed by firing squad.
Yeah.
But people come in to save the day. Jermaine Clement, who's been in these movies before, but
they finally gave him something to do. Flight of the Conchords, man, hell yeah.
Yeah, sure. What We Do in the Shadows,
Yeah.
There's one scene early on of Jermaine Clement being like to the RDA, like, no, you can't do this. They're creatures. They have souls. And then in the very next
they have
scene,
their own language. They have feelings.
He's like a defector. Like, he is directly responsible for Jake, like breaking Jake Sully out. And I just felt like that was kind of unearned.
But it's a great.
It was an exciting.
Sequence.
It was an exciting.
I mean,
because it was different than what we'd seen before.
Neytiri comes in by herself. She's got a couple of those arrows that Jake made for her earlier with like missiles on them and shit.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool action sequence. Very dynamic the way she's like flying in and out throughout the buildings and all the structures there at the base. Really enjoyed this, though. I will say they let him go technically because Spider is with Jake. This is something we didn't mention earlier. The whole issue with Spider not being able to breathe the air gets quickly resolved when Kiri connects with him and connects with the ground in the forest when he's about to die. And miraculously, he has this new thing living inside of him, this organism that allows him to breathe the air. This is a huge threat to all of the Na'vi and the entire population on the planet, all the animals, the environments, because if they can harness this in some way, shape, or form, the humans will all come to the planet and do the same thing they did to Earth, which is ruin it, use up all the resources, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So they're like,
what they really needed to do then is kidnap Kiri, because she's the one who is able to.
They don't know that, though. They don't know.
Well, sure, I suppose. It just felt, I don't know, like, I mean, if they want to understand how Na'vi breathe without,
well, that's
oxygen.
Some humans for you. The human characters in this movie are absolutely played up as being very, very one-dimensional and somewhat stupid. So
sure,
I get it. Just the whole idea, though, is that they can't kill him because if they kill him, they can't harness that. So they basically let them go in some way, shape, or form. Jake Sully, Neytiri, and Spider fly off together, and Quaritch is somehow just not around. He's been chasing them around the whole base the whole time as they're trying to escape, and they just let him go. Like there's no ships flying up in the air to go after him.
The amount of firepower that they have at that military base, you'd think that they wouldn't be able to fly out of there and just leave.
Wouldn't you chase him? You've been spent all this time trying to find him. You're just going to go, okay, fine, go ahead, fly off, man. We don't need you now. No, you were about to kill him with firing squad like in a few hours. I just think it was completely a missed opportunity to have another action sequence, a chase sequence. They could have done any other thing to have them get away other than just you see them fly in the air and the next scene they're like landing somewhere. Like, oh no, literally no one chased them.
Well, I mean, I think overall the payoffs in this film are unsatisfying. Not even unsatisfying to the point of like, oh, well, that's a little disappointing. It ended more with a whimper than a bang. Payoffs to where like you're not even really, you don't have a full understanding of what even happened. Like Quaritch, like, okay, so the last we see of him and he's falling off of the cliff and he's screaming and it looks like he's going into the void, but we don't see it.
It's sequel bait. He's not dead.
The Una Chaplin character, she has a confrontation with Kiri, and Kiri has like a kind of
it's an homage
throwback
to
line
to
Aliens, and then we just don't see Una Chaplin's character for the rest of the movie. So it's like, what happened to her?
She basically ran
escape?
off. She ran off like a coward. Yeah.
okay, just like you can't end your movie like that, just leaving things hanging like that.
Which
Like you need to have some kind of closure,
leads me to believe that
especially if this is going to be the
well,
last
I
movie
think
that
it is,
Cameron
but I
does.
think on paper they were still thinking about 4 and 5. I really do believe they are. And while in my heart, I really don't think that Cameron's going to do 4 and 5. Maybe like we said earlier, he'll grab somebody else, an up and comer,
Robert
to do that.
Rodriguez.
Well, give Robert something to do. God knows he's not doing anything else as of late.
That Alita sequel is not happening.
That's a shame. That was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah,
I liked it. But the one thing I need to mention before we get to our final thoughts and trash it or treasure it, on the subject of Jake Sully and being kind of this cold, sterile asshole of a character, after they escape, they land. And earlier in the movie, as you said, Neytiri mentions to Jake, we should just kill Spider. This will just resolve the whole issue. There'll be no more threat that the humans can harness this technology or, harness whatever this is that the nature gave to him to allow him to breathe the air. Everyone's going to be better off. And now she's seeing things differently. And Jake's like, you were right all along. We should just fucking kill him. I'm going to take him in the woods right now and cut his throat. After Spider just literally saved his life. Like Sully would not have been able to escape without Spider. He would have been, a missile would have hit him and he'd been blown to pieces. He takes him in the woods and he's about to do it. It's a pretty intense sequence. He's got the knife to his throat. And I thought Neytiri was going to run and jump in and stop him. No, he stops himself on his own.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Spider says something like, "Do you love me?" And he says, "More than anything." And I started to get emotional about that. They're, like adoptive father stuff.
It's very biblical. It's very, the story of Abraham and Isaac from the Bible.
How the hell is Spider gonna trust him after this? He literally took him into the woods and he was gonna fucking off him, cut his fucking head off.
I just felt like that was very unearned, very confusing. Like, why does Neytiri suddenly feel differently? Why does Jake suddenly have this change of heart where he decides that it is best to kill Spider, but then at the last minute decides not to do it? It's I don't know. I just felt very confused by that scene. And again, yeah, Spider's reaction is very much whatever. I like Jake Champion for the most part in these movies.
The dialogue they give Spider in this movie is terrible. They put in butthead or butthole and all this.
He's I'm gonna take a piss, and then he's like, oh, good idea. You should drink from the stream and then piss in it.
It's just really
weird. I'm weird comedy.
I'm a huge Beavis and Butthead fan for real, but I'm really? This is the kind of writing you're going to give this dude? I don't know.
And take a shot how many times any character says,
bro. Cameron's only putting that in there for the broccoli tops. That's...
I suppose. I mean, the more I think about it, the more baffling I find Cameron's lack of creativity and verisimilitude with this sequel. I mean, I've often said that Cameron is an efficient screenwriter. The best thing you can say about a James Cameron script is that it gets the job done. But this film felt hacky to me.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. But I mean, as much of a cinematic spectacle as it is, I'm a big fan of gimmicks like 3D and high frame rate and Dolby, HDR and whatever. I love all that stuff. And I like being in the theater and looking at it on the screen. It's very pretty. But in terms of that, we've seen it before. We've been dazzled by the effects. Now, what are you going to do? Show me something that I haven't seen before. Really get me invested into the future of these characters and the storylines and again, even just you want to show me a whole fire realm on this planet, then show it to me. Don't give it to me for a 2-minute scene.
Or at least give it to us for half an hour or something a little bit more than literally. I said 10 minutes earlier. I was being a little bit. It wasn't even 10 minutes. It was 5 minutes, maybe.
Right. So to me, it seems that Cameron is content with, setting fire to his own franchise and reducing it to ashes in literally the third installment. It doesn't, I was not excited for the next installment the way that I was coming out of Way of Water. Okay, cool. Now where are we going to go? And it's we're literally going to do beat for beat, practically the same thing again. And it was oh, is this all you have in the can? Are you a secret hack? What's happening?
One could say similar things many, many years ago, many moons ago, Loisos, when we used to
Mm,
review every single Marvel movie, every comic book movie, everything that went into theaters. We also said similar things about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and comparing it to Westerns, where they have certain beats they have to hit, and then the movie ends. You get the hero to fight the big bad villain at the end. They win. They're triumphant. Iconic heroic music. Movie ends.
sure.
But it's like this is a different thing in a way, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. But I have to say, I don't dislike the movie for all the reasons that we're mentioning. I still think that there are those people that don't really care about that stuff that you're mentioning. And I'm not saying it shouldn't be there, because it possibly could be in there and it should be there. But if you really are just going for that escapism, if you really do want to I mean, think about what the things that are going on right now. We don't talk politics on this show. We don't talk about worldwide news, but there's things happening right now as of this recording that I'm sure a lot of people will be talking about, that it's going to impact a lot of people. I mean, for God fucking sakes, Rob Reiner just got killed the other day by his kid and his wife. Like, shit's bad. All right. Like, things aren't getting any better around here right now. So if you're just one of those people that wants to go and escape into the world of Pandora and just enjoy the visuals and the animals and the atmosphere and the blue cat people, God bless you. Go do it. Like I think that's a
Sure.
huge part of what these movies are. The stories have never really been all that unique or complex or anything. I do
But they've been competent.
they've been
enough.
competent. So I don't disagree with you entirely at all. I just think there is a sense of what are these movies? They are the roller coaster, Brian. They are, as I sometimes like to call it, cinematic fast food. It tastes really good and delicious and looks cool in the packaging when you eat it. You digest it, you shit it out, it's gone, and you kind of forget about it the next day. Unfortunately, and I hate to compare that, because the technical achievements and the spectacle that these movies are is really insane. It's really, I mean, you talk about culturally relevant. Marvel movies don't look this good. DC movies don't look this good. No other big budget action adventure movies look as good as Avatar. That's a fact. Like, that's not an opinion. It's just flawless in terms of the visuals and the CGI and stuff. So, final thoughts from you, Loy Sauce. And are you going to trash this or treasure it?
I don't necessarily disagree with anything that you are saying, because I did, I wasn't like sitting there hating my life for 3 hours and
I saw you smile.
a half.
I saw you
practically.
smile a few times.
I mean, yeah, there's like fleeting moments. I think just I'm not so quick to give Cameron a pass this time. Again,
I get it.
with the previous two Avatar movies, like, they're flawed, they're problematic in their in many ways, but I always felt that Cameron was onto something in terms of the story he was trying to tell, the messages he was trying to convey, the technology he was trying to push. And I think it's just a case of diminishing returns. It's a case of, and again, I think, the world of Pandora is one that you could have a lot of different, the world is so rife with possibility and opportunity. It just seems a little bit disappointing that we're back to like yet more carnage and more destruction and like more humans murdering Navi and more Navi murdering humans. And it's like, I mean, I understand that he's trying to tell a story about war, same as it ever was. There's always going to be endless, pillaging of the planet's resources for monetary gain, and the rest of it. Like, I understand there's going to be a death toll. Like, I know that that's what war is, and that's what these movies are. But like, can we kind of move away from the same old thing over and over again? I would be very curious to see what the box office returns are like in relation to the other movies. Because the thing about the other Avatar movies is that there was a rewatch value to them. There was positive word of mouth. And I don't know if this one has those same that in those areas, that same power that the first two did, in terms of like people wanting to go back and rewatch it, or people wanting to tell your friends and family, you got to see this because it really gives you something new to see. This gives practically nothing new. And it's just not as well constructed as the other two on a story level. So what really is there to go back to and revisit? I don't know. I'm significantly less interested in seeing a fourth Avatar movie after watching this. I don't know if I'll ever watch this again. And that's disappointing because I would consider Cameron a master filmmaker in a lot of ways. So it's a trash it for me.
Okay. I mean, I kind of expected that. All valid points on your end. I really don't disagree with all of them. I just think from my perspective, I'm just, again, seeing it through a different lens. And I didn't walk away impressed by this movie. I didn't walk away loving this movie. I didn't even walk away really, really liking it. I just walked away, like I said earlier, I had that double cheeseburger. I swallowed it down. It tasted
You're satiated.
Good. Yeah. Satiated. I'm like, all right, I'm good on that. And I probably won't ever watch this again. So, and I did go see The Way of Water a second time. Mm-hmm. That is an indicate, like, to me, since a lot of times we see stuff at press screenings and my wife can't make it, or other people that want to see it, they ask me if it's good. And if I think it's good, I'll take them to see it again. And I did that with the last one. And I told Danielle last night, she's like, is it theater worthy? I'm like, I'm probably not going to take you to see it in theater.
It's theater worthy in the sense that if you watch it at all.
Well, absolutely. Truly. I would say I'm not rushing to watch anything Avatar related on my TV, even though I've got a great setup. These movies are truly perfected to be screened in the biggest possible theater. I mean, James Cameron is such a fucking connoisseur of this stuff that he put out like a written statement in papyrus font, mind you. God, I hate that font. But he had to tell projectionists the specifications of how the movie needed to look. And I love that he did that. That's how much he cares about this. Just like Guillermo del Toro or Christopher Nolan or any other iconic film director that cares about film presentation. This is his passion, and I love that about him. But for me, I don't see that I'm going to go see this one again in theaters. And it is really long. And I believe you are correct in saying that the runtime just did not feel deserved of a lot of the stuff we saw in the movie. There's like scenes of them just walking around, mindless dialogue that really doesn't connect to anything that didn't really need to be there. Because in the end, it never really led to anything. And I have to mention that not only is that thing with Quaritch at the end underwhelming, the movie just ends. Like they're all connected with their little things to nature again, like we've seen in the other movies. There's emotional music. And then the movie ends. Like there's no conclusion to anything. It was just
tease to the next
it was
film.
A really weird way to end your movie, and it felt like
there was like very muted applause by the audience at the end.
They didn't know what they didn't know how to end it. They didn't know where to go next. So that's why my belief on 4 and 5 is just if it does happen, it's not going to happen for a while, and it's probably not going to be Cameron. So as much as I hate to do this, the more I've thought about this, because when we used to rate movies 1 out of 10, 6 would be my lowest possible passing grade. But I have to give this a 5 out of 10. So that would be a trash it. It has to be that way. Just because it served its purpose. I think those that want to go see this in terms of spectacle and the visuals in 3D in Dolby Cinema, even though most people don't have a Dolby or IMAX, those are the preferred choices, of course. But if you just have a regular local AMC or whatever, like
still better than watching it
on your couch, go see it. But for me, it is disposable. It's not anything I'd ever watch it again. I thought it was decent. I'll say it was decent, but Loisas, damn you convinced me that one extra point needed to go down. Look at what you did. I fucking loved Una Ch. I mean, I loved Varang as a villain. I wanted more of her. They could have developed her more. And I did need to mention that we do see Varang and Quaritch having sexual relations. They're nude.
Well, sorta.
They're nude in a tent, and you can tell they're banging. So that's a thing too. But you don't see any like genitalia or anything. Because you reminded me they connect the little hair thingies to have sex, which just reminds me of Demolition Man.
I don't think male Na'vi have penises.
If they did, they'd be flapping in and out of those fucking little leather things they have, loincloth things they have hanging around their crotch. If they don't have anything down there, what are they covering, bro?
I don't know, but Jake Champion's character, a couple times I was like, are we gonna get flashed at a certain point, because he's running around in nothing but that loincloth.
Poor dude, this is the role he took. I mean, it's still a big James Cameron movie. I mean,
why wouldn't you take the role? It's just odd that they don't give him some clothes. I guess he doesn't want clothes because he's a Na'vi.
Yeah. Well, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for our full spoiler review of Avatar: Fire and Ash. If it's your first time listening to the Epic Film Guys, thanks for checking us out. If you're a long-time listener, we love you. Thanks for sticking with us. We hope that you're all ready to have happy holidays, or you're already enjoying them, depending on what you celebrate, if you do. We're all over the place at Epic Film Guys on social media, and available on every single podcast platform. I almost can't even talk. I'm about to choke on my own spit.
Well, after watching 3.5 hours of Avatar in the theater,
I'm still affected by it over 24 hours later, ladies and gentlemen. But once again, I am Justin.
I'm Loy Sauce.
And as always, we'll ask you to keep that shit creepy.